Today, we're talking to Naiyhani Battle, who is a teacher at GA Treakle Elementary. What do you teach at Treakle?
I teach kindergarten.
Oh, well, that's a big job. So now,
Yes.
I'll get to that in a few minutes about how you're handling your classes, because, I mean, I guess kindergartners maybe could be technologically savvy, but how about at your house? How are you managing?
My house has been pretty busy. I have 3 children of my own, 7th grade, 4th grade, and kindergarten. So we've got a middle school and an elementary school running here every day. But so far they've been pretty good. They've kept their sanity. They get their physical activity and stay away from each other when they need a break. But we've been managing okay. Husband's active duty, so he still leaves every day, but the rest of us are here.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like good advice. Getting your space when you need it. You know, there's some good stuff in there for people who are trying to manage their kids at home. So tell me, how are you able to interact with kindergartners at this time?
It has been a challenge. I'm very grateful for the parents that I have this year, and not just this year, but my students, their families are really the only way I can connect with them. They don't have their own devices. They don't have their own cell phones and laptops. They can't just call me when they want to. So really, I just connect with their families, and we had a pretty good relationship beforehand. So when they see Mrs. Battle's cell phone number, they don't freak out. They just answer, and we have a chat and say, okay, what's a good time? We've kind of worked together on what works for every family and what time of day works, so that we can do Google meetings with everyone together. It's worked for some of my students. I would say about half of them. The other half just don't have that capability. So I have to kind of either call them one-on-one, or we haven't spoken to them at all.
Wow, that's such a developmental time too. But I find in talking to teachers that every student really is in a different situation when you're having to deal with them at home.
Yes, big difference. I've got some with one that didn't even have a television. To somebody whose mom has to go out because she works for the newspaper. So she's like, I can only do it at 1 o'clock when I have my lunch break, and others that are available, and you'll see them check in on Google Classroom, but they're just not interacting as much because it takes someone sitting one-on-one with them. So the timing doesn't always work.
Yeah, so in that case, they're the ones that you really are probably having to make a lot of parent contact with, I imagine.
Yes. So we're trying to call. I usually make Mondays my days to give them a call and just check in. Some respond well. Others are kind of giving me the, you're calling again, because it's not necessarily normal to hear from your teacher every single week. But they are doing well. There are some that I've lost contact with over the last few weeks, and that's a little concerning too.
Yeah, no doubt. What specifically, what kinds of activities and what kinds of things are you having kindergartners do?
With Google Classroom, my team and I have worked together to try to find things that work that they can do with little parent assistance, but not so much that they can't get any learning done unless they have someone to help them. So the Google Classroom activities and learning packets that we create have been a little bit easier for them to do. And then we also provide them with technology things, because sometimes parents just say, here's your tablet and go work. So we give them some things that they can do with that kind of a situation at home. When we have Google Meet, we have a lot of fun. That's the biggest thing. I want them to kind of feel like we're still in our classroom and we're still having those good times. So we do show and tell. We do sight word games. They really like Jack Hartman and his sight word rap. So they do that and listen, they write the words down, and then they read the list back to me. And that seems to have kept us going pretty good.
Wow. Now, you mentioned your team. This kind of thing requires a lot of collaboration, doesn't it? Tell me something about that.
Yeah. I think I've talked to them more now than I do when I see them every week. But we have a group chat on, just to talk about things that are going on each week, and each day we meet in and say, okay, what else needs to be done? We do have our regular PLCs every Tuesday. We meet together with ourselves, our TAs, the principal, and we sit down and try to work through what's going to work, what's the next objectives, and everybody kind of pitches in to find activities and lessons that are going to be good for the students.
Yeah. What do you feel like is a positive, if you could find one, a positive that's come out of this experience for you?
I have learned a lot about Google Classroom. I did not find that it would be helpful for me initially when they first brought it out and said, oh, use Google Classroom, it'll be great. You can push activities to your kids. And I'm thinking, they don't even know how to log in. So that's also a problem for us. But now I see it in other ways where I'm like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if we could use Google Classroom to have parents join us for classroom activities that maybe they have to work, they're on their lunch break, but they could log in and just see the activity in the classroom of what we're doing and how it goes. So when the child goes home that day, they can say, oh wow, I saw you today when you did your project or when you got your award, I was there, even though they weren't there. So I can see that as being a positive.
Right. Wow. Okay, that's great. Do you have any advice, especially for parents of really young kids, like the ones that you're dealing with?
The school day is not 6 hours when you're at home. So try not to, provide your students with 6 hours worth of work or expect them to sit. Allow them to have movement and breaks, frequent breaks. Do your best and just forget the rest. The kids are going to be fine in the end. Teachers are able to fill that gap, fill that void. We're going to be fine.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, that's great. You're a real a bright spot, I'm sure, for these parents. You're very encouraging, and you make me feel better too, honestly. Talking to you. So I'll let you get back to work because I know you have a lot of it to do. But I thank you very much for your time, and you just take care of yourself and keep it up. Everybody very much appreciates all the work you're putting in.